You're watching Spectrum News. It's 9 o'clock.
It is 9 o'clock on Spectrum News. Thanks for joining us. I'm Claudine Chalfant. Our top story again tonight is Hurricane Irma. Preparations are underway in the southeast to get ready. The storm is expected to make landfall in Florida late Sunday morning or in the early afternoon. The intensity of the storm could change. Right now, it is classified as a Category 4, but could strengthen to a Category 5. Reporter Omar Jimenez joins us live from Miami Beach in South Florida. Omar.
Irma is down from a Category 5 hurricane to a 4, but that doesn't mean Florida officials are taking it any more lightly. As the wind begins to pick up tonight, Governor Rick Scott telling residents if you've been ordered to evacuate to do so immediately, adding not tonight, not in an hour, but now. For residents in South Florida, time is running out.
If you're not on the road by midnight, all right, don't get on the road.
Hurricane Irma is inching closer to the United States, bringing with it devastating wind, rain, and storm surges. The view from space shows the sheer size of the storm, larger than the entire state of Florida.
Frightening. What can I tell you? I'm not a woman that is frightened, but this is frightening.
Thousands of Floridians have packed their cars and heeded those evacuation warnings, leading to clogged highways and gas shortages. State troopers are monitoring the roadways and doing everything they can to keep traffic moving. But some say they plan to ride out the storm.
Got a pretty strong home, so I'm pretty confident that it will survive.
The governor of Florida has activated the entire state National Guard, 7,000 of them, and says today is the day to move inland.
I'm a dad and I'm a grandfather. I love my family. I can't imagine life without them. Do not put yourself or your family at risk. If you've been ordered to evacuate and are still home, please go to a shelter.
With President Trump and Governor Scott saying he also met with President Trump along with members of his cabinet today as the rain begins to pick up here for the first time. In that meeting, Trump saying that Scott will have all the resources of the federal government.
A little bit earlier than we thought. Omar just said as it started to rain on him that this is the first time that he's seen some raindrops. So it is 9:02 right now and things are already starting to happen with Hurricane Irma. We leave the numbers, of course, to our meteorologist. Here's Chief Meteorologist Jeff Crum with what we can expect in the next couple of hours.
He's standing in the right spot down there because they've actually had several bands of rain beginning to work in through there, and more of those are on the way. It's just going to multiply number for them. We'll take a look at the latest information on Irma from the National Hurricane Center. Still Category 4 hurricane, sustained winds at 155 miles an hour, headed west at 12 miles an hour. And it's a scary thing to expect and to witness what could play out here, and that is perhaps a Category 5 hurricane chewing through the Keys, headed into the Naples region, inland sometime late Sunday morning, early Sunday afternoon. We'll see if that trend holds, then up across northern Florida into South Georgia, Valdosta, Albany, Thomasville. All those areas to be affected could be inundated with a lot of rain, and even a lot of that tree canopy likely to come down. Now, the good news for us, we're not in the cone anymore, but that doesn't mean we aren't going to see some sort of effects from Irma, because it's a big storm. There are some of those outer bands as we get a look at the current radar down that way out of Miami. Closer to home for us, we're having a beautiful evening out there. We'll talk a lot more about Irma coming up at 21 past the hour, but we are looking for temperatures overnight tonight back into the mid to lower 50s, highs tomorrow close to 78.
All right, Jeff, thanks a lot. We, of course, keep a close eye on the forecast. But right now, let's go over to Spectrum News reporter Alex Peterson. He spoke with two people from Florida who evacuated. One left early and beat the traffic. The other was stuck for hours. Alex.
Yeah, Claudine, it's really a tale of two evacuees, both of them fleeing Hurricane Irma. One woman and her family staying at this Uptown Hyatt hotel behind me here in Charlotte. They left their Orlando high-rise condo early Wednesday morning, and they got here in about 7 hours. They say the roads were clear when they left, but it sounds like that was not the case for everybody. Another man who also left evacuated Central Florida. He left a day after them, early Thursday morning. His trip here to Charlotte, a little more stressful. Lou Manzo is from Cocoa Beach on Florida's East Coast and had a trip up north already planned before Irma formed.
So I thought I would leave a day early and hit the road and escape everything. Well, I didn't escape everything.
Nothing but bumper-to-bumper traffic, he says, on Route 95, driving from his home to Savannah, Georgia, Thursday.
A trip that should have taken me 5 hours took, I think, over 7 hours at least.
From Savannah to his Statesville Road Hotel in Charlotte Friday, more headaches.
The rest stops along the way are all mobbed. There are a lot of Florida people heading north right on Route 95 and clogging it up.
Traffic, though, not an issue for Ritika Ghosh and her family, staying in uptown Charlotte's Hyatt House.
I had this horrible premonition. I know it sounds silly, but I had this feeling that I was going to be stuck in my condo without water or electricity. It was very, very scary.
They left their high-rise condo in central Orlando early Wednesday morning, ahead of the mass exodus.
No one had thought ahead that much, and I figured that that would be the case. So when we were driving, it was free all the way.
The Hyatt suddenly sold out earlier this week.
Overnight from Tuesday to Wednesday, the hotel picked up close to a little bit over $100,000 in revenue for next week. So we went from being about 50% to sold out.
Ghosh is worried her family's life could drastically change in the coming days.
It's not hit me yet. I think when it's going to hit me is when I see those winds, when I see it live on TV, is when it's going to hurt me a lot.
And of course, those are just two of the many evacuees leaving Central Florida and South Florida, coming up north, staying in places like South Carolina and North Carolina to get away from the devastation that Hurricane Irma is expected to bring to the state of Florida. For evacuees coming to the Charlotte area, the Association for Hotels here says that your best bet at this point is to try hotels outside of the uptown Charlotte area because everything in uptown seems to be sold out tonight. Claudine.
Alex, I'm sure that it does, but you know, Concord, of course, is an outlying area and maybe not a hotel, but tell us some information about the Speedway as well and other areas besides the hotels that are welcoming evacuees from Florida.
Yeah, the Speedway actually opened up one of their campgrounds this morning around 7 o'clock, and they have that campground open to folks that have maybe campers down in Daytona that want to enjoy some NASCAR fun up here at the Speedway. They can have bathhouse facilities. Those are open for folks that are going to be fleeing Irma. That is free. There's also some folks that are going to be taking up places with Red Cross shelters across the state. So stay informed, stay up to date online and on TV when and if you have power. That way you can find somewhere to stay and stay out of harm's way as Irma makes her way into the mainland United States. Claudine.
All right, Alex, thanks a lot for that information. And stay with Spectrum News. Our team of meteorologists will keep you updated on Hurricane Irma. Of course, we have updates every 10 minutes, but 21 and 51 after the hour are extended updates. Reporter Jonathan Lowe as well will be stationed in Asheville. He will bring us sights from areas to our west. People aren't the only ones evacuating from the path of Hurricane Irma. The Carolina Waterfowl Rescue is preparing to house animals expected to come this way. Chickens, pelicans, ducks, turkey, even goats are being evacuated from other animal rescues along the coast. They will be temporarily housed here during the hurricane. The rescue is also helping evacuees find shelter for any unusual pets that they may have. Hurricane Irma appears to be drifting westward and could clip the western edge of the state. Governor Roy Cooper says this is a much better forecast than what we saw earlier in the week, but still says North Carolina is activating 2 emergency response staging areas in Asheville and Greensboro just in case.
The part in the west that we're most concerned about is possible rock slides, mudslides in the mountain areas. We have staff on hand that's going out there and monitoring those problem areas and keeping a check on those, as well as our geotechnical unit, which is based in Raleigh.
The governor also stressed there will be a threat of tornadoes and rip currents and to monitor the storm this weekend as it could change its track once again.
We're still standing up and staying prepared as if it's going to occur here. We do expect some wind, probably estimates right now around in the 20 to 30 mile an hour range with around 2 to 3 inches of rain. This region can handle that very well. If it does shift a little bit back east, those could increase.
The Charlotte Fire Department says even though we are still in prediction mode, they are ready. Extra staff is on hand should specialty teams such as Swift Water Rescue or Urban Search and Rescue be needed. 5 shelter sites have been identified in Mecklenburg County depending on the need. The locations of those shelter openings will be announced at a later time.
While you're preparing for some bad weather, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Animal Care and Control reminds you not to forget about your animals. You should make sure that you have your address, phone number, or where you're staying attached to your pet. Remember, in an emergency, pets can react differently under stress. Make sure your pet is microchipped if you can. You have a supply of medication and vaccinations are up to date as well. Finally, take a pet selfie so you can have a recent picture and can prove ownership in case your pet gets lost.
Wells Fargo is deploying its mobile response unit to Texas in the wake of Hurricane Harvey. We first told you about the mobile ATM when it was rolled out about 4 years ago. It will be available for customers to get cash out of their accounts. Wells Fargo hasn't said if or when the ATM will be available for those impacted by Hurricane Irma. Let's check back in now for your 3-day forecast.
As we continue with our Friday evening, the weekend unfolding, and the weather's great outside. We've got clear skies, essentially, cooling temperatures, that fall chill in the air. We had that chill this morning as we had a low of 52 degrees. That beat the old record of 54 set back in 1988, so a new record. Our high was 78 degrees for the day. 7:02 a.m. our sunrise Saturday morning, 7:39 p.m. will be our sunset. And quiet it will be. High pressure, our friend to the north. And so tomorrow morning, chilly. Tomorrow afternoon, good amount of sunshine, maybe a mix of clouds later in the day in the mountains, but dry. No rain in the forecast for the high country. And then as we get into Sunday, we're going to start picking up a bit of a steady breeze Sunday late morning, Sunday afternoon. And then in Monday morning, we start to pick up some gusty winds. And then later, Monday afternoon, Monday night, early Tuesday, we may be dealing with some wind gusts close to 40, 50 miles an hour.
Coming up, the mayoral primary is Tuesday in Charlotte. We'll bring you a little more information about one of the candidates after the break.